Hello, 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 and welcome to Mastermind class, guys. Everybody that is part of our program now is entering into the second part of the year. We are going through, over the course of time, probably close to 24 modules this year that are going to help you grow your sales business. And the whole idea and key that you want to do is you want to take the handouts that Janet is sending to you and put them in a binder. And as we go through the sessions, whether you're watching a recorded one, which about half of our members watch it on a recorded module because they're missing out because they're in meetings or they're different parts of the country. And what you're going to do is fill in the blanks and then put it in your binder. And then we always say that 15 minutes of a day of motivation training, inspiration, positive self-talk, reading your affirmations, positive reading, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, something, YouTube, like I said, something that's positive, inspirational, 15 minutes a day, input equals output. I don't care what it is, but we all go through so much stuff in our lives that's absolutely important. And then 15 minutes a day of technical selling skills of things that you're learning from the class. So I see a few of you on. I see Ryan, I see Christine, I see Charmaine. Hi, Charmaine. And like I said, there's several people that are watching. We can't see them, and several people watch the recordings of this. But anyways, you're going to want to get your binder together, as I explained before, and 15 minutes a day of technical selling skills, practicing the closing, the objectives. Today we're going to hit on prospecting, and 15 minutes a day on the motivation stuff. So people say, well, God, that's a long time. I don't really do that right now. And that's only 2% of your day. That's 2% of your day filling your mind with information. So we're going to start off with something a little positive first, and I'm sharing my screen, and as you guys can see here, we have what we call the 60-second commercial about yourself. And this is how to get yourself fired up, inspired. Everyone say it's kind of corny. Gary, this is kind of weird. This is like, I feel funny saying this. However, I've probably taught this to probably 300,000-400,000 people. And when you actually say it, you really, really, really start to, wow, that's the way I want to be. And don't look at it as corny. And you can change the words a little bit if you want. But I'm going to just say it out loud. In your mind, you could say your name instead. But the whole idea here is to pour stuff into your head so that input equals output. So like sometimes we call it BBF. BBF stands for bounce back fast. We go through stuff in our lives, things that are challenges, and it's like, God, this sucks, man. Whew. Then I'm going to do something that's positive self-talk, BBF. This is one that I use often. Gary, meet Gary. Important, really important person. Gary, you're a big thinker, so think big. Think big about everything. You got plenty of ability to do the first-class job, so do a first-class job, Gary. And believe in happiness, progress, prosperity. So talk only happiness. And what I'll often add in there is I'll say, don't be negative. Don't let other things come into your life that they're not going to fill the happy cup. So talk only happiness. Talk only progress. Talk only prosperity. You have lots of drive, Gary. Lots of drive. So put drive to work for you. Nothing can stop you. Nothing, Gary. You're enthusiastic. Let the enthusiasm shine through. And you look good. You feel good. Stay that way. Gary, you were a great person yesterday, and you're going to be even a greater person today. Now do it, Gary. Go forward and move things ahead. Now, some of you out there going, wow, that's kind of cool. And I'm telling you, I cannot physically read that and then not get back on the horse and make a prospecting call or ask for a referral or be disciplined. Like I've read this twice today, and I had my workout at 2. I'm working with a new brand called Gym Guys, and we're speaking at their conference in September. And I'm going through the process of getting workouts, personal workouts from them during the thing. And like, I didn't really feel like working out too. I had so much work to do. But I said, you know what? I know how I feel after I do my workout. And I'm not going to be negative here. I'm going to talk positive. It's going to be good for me. I'm going to practice what I preach. your team will do half of what you do right and twice of what you do wrong. So you plow through it. So when you're having those tough times, you plow through it by the 60-second commercial. So here's just a little tool for you guys. It's in your inbox. You can change it around a little bit. We recommend 2 to 3 times a day you read this. It's like using unleaded fuel or super unleaded fuel to drive your day to an even better level. What I want to talk to you about is the main module today that you have in your inbox is what we call, whoops, not publisher. Whoops, that's a mistake. Let's get out of this. We're going to talk about prospecting and cold calling. And this is a very, very powerful topic. It's a topic that rings a bell with so many people, because when you're really good at prospecting and reaching out to people when you don't have incoming calls, it's a powerful tool to have. I actually say that 60% of your day, if you're in sales, should be IPA. And if you guys remember what IPA stands for, it's income producing activities. So no matter what the sales job is that you're doing, whether you're selling homes, Ryan and your team, or Charmaine, you guys are doing the wine and cheese events, not wine and painting events, excuse me. Okay. Whatever it is that you guys are selling, and we have all different industries on here of people that sell different things for a living. If we can think 40% of my day up to can be non-income producing. It could be research, it could be driving, it could be studying, it could be on Facebook, even messing around a little bit, eating. It could be at the cooler talking. It could be a phone call that's not really generating business. It could be a meeting. But 60%, if your main job is running a business and driving revenue, 60% should either be prospecting, which is outbound emails that have a definite ask for some sort of something. I don't count email time as my IPA time unless there's a definite ask in the email, not just an information. Outbound phone calling, calling off a list, trying to set up appointments, or in-person cold calling or warm calling. Now, cold calling for some is kind of a bad word, and we want to get to a point where everything's warm calling. A referral is warm calling. Doing a little homework about the person and knowing people they knew because you work LinkedIn is warm calling. Cold calling is if you don't know their name, you don't know anything about them, and you're literally just reaching out and calling them. That's cold calling. But I have many, 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 many people that I know that actually are master cold callers and love it. And they have that buffalo mentality, and they go right into the storm. And see, buffalo is the only herd animal that go right into the storm, by the way. And so they're not fearful of cold calling. They say, I'm going to get my 60% in of my time IPA, whether it's cold or warm. So let's dig into this. Don't worry about getting every single note in your handout, following along. What I want you to worry more about is getting all the concepts, So prospecting and cold calling, viewed negatively or passively, is merely a numbers game, where the salesperson's calling is no different than a junk mail postcard. But viewed positively and creatively, cold calling is empowering, it's potent, it actually enables the salesperson to, and these are the main points that I want you to make, that I want you to write in your handout. And it might be page 3 or page 4, I'm not sure. I might have to skip around a little bit. But the whole idea of the PowerPoint is we don't have every single thing PowerPoint that's in the workbook. What we want you to be able to do is get the main concepts. That's the key point. So by you being very, very, very powerful at prospecting, and you love it, and it's part of the game, you get in before the competition. I'm thinking of many of you in the class that have 3 or 4 or 5 brands, or 3 or 4 or 5 companies that are competition. Why would you want to let that other company get in before you? If you take the mentality that in our company, we're master prospectors, it goes on our calendar time to make the calls, we're absolutely ahead of the game with it, then you're preempting what the competition does. Because quite honestly, most companies don't do enough training in prospecting and holding people accountable to doing it. Some do, but most are always, like when we're out at companies and say, what's your biggest need? Well, referrals is a big need for us. Time management's a big need. And could you help us with our prospecting? We need to do more of it. We need to do better at it. Next, as by prospecting, to identify and create huge new business possibilities. So every day, I live a concept, and you guys may want to write this down. It's called 12-6-3. 12-6-3. And what 12 stands for is on a full day, if you have nothing else you're doing, except prospecting. You don't have any appointments, you don't have any company meetings, you don't have anything else going on. Your goal should be to try to make 12 contacts with decision makers if you have an entire day. Now, I know some industries are a little bit different. And some industries you can go to a networking event in the evening or daytime and get 12 contacts in 1 hour. Others, it takes a little bit more time to reach the decision makers. But 12 contacts is the goal. On days where you have about a half day, because you've got a few things going on, you got a few meetings, you got an appointment, you got a couple of things you're doing. Could you guys, if you are not on mute, mute your phone? Because I hear a little bit of noise in the background. Just mute your computer, mute your phone, so we don't hear the shuffling of the papers. Thank you very much. Or turn your volume way down on your computer. So 6 contacts would be for you've got a few things set up. Again, I need somebody to turn down their computer, turn down the volume, please. All right. 6 contacts would be if you have a situation where you've got a few things going on, you got about a half day to still prospect. That's what you would do. And then 3 contacts is every single day, no matter what, I'm going to find time to make 3 contacts. 3 contacts, okay? So the next one, become indispensable as someone who can make things happen and create new business. Next is you're going to build your personal reputation as an industry expert because you're going to make more connections with people. Next is you're going to establish relationships and respect beyond normal sales responsibilities. So I want you to really take a look at this. I have a lot of people that take this little slide right here and they actually print it out, put it up near their desk, and it just makes them feel a little bit better about prospecting. So take a look at it for a quick second while I have a sip of water. A lot of people are really uncomfortable and nervous about the concept of prospecting, cold calling. Yuck, pressure. It's unwanted, it's a nuisance, it's thankless, it's contrived, it's insulting, it's disrespectful, it's unhappy, it's a numbers game, and all those things on the left, how customers see it when it's done poorly and how salespeople see it. But honestly, I've been selling my whole life since I've been, 16 years old, 52 now. And I've been blessed to be with some of the best salespeople in the world. And they're not pressure. And they're not a nuisance. And they're not shady. And they're successful. And they got good hearts. And they're honest. And so I want you to start pouring into your mind that if I can learn this, I can be straightforward. I can be honest. I don't have to hide things. I could be interesting, not interested. I could be helpful because I'm sharing it with more people. I could be thoughtful and I could be prepared. Like I always prepare every night, 30 minutes to prepare for the next day so I have a great day the next day. You can be respected, and this person loves sales. Like I honestly say, I'm a professional sales trainer. I teach sales. I'm an author and I teach sales and I love it. And I'm not embarrassed by it because I'm informing people that need that training. I'm enthusiastic about it, upbeat. I'm thought-provoking. And these are all things you should have in your mind, that sales is a good thing. It should not be something that's swept underneath the rug. So now, okay, Gary, I get it. I'm going to go out and I'm going to prospect. I'm going to get my company to do this. I'm going to put more time into teaching it. I'm going to hold my people accountable in my company to spend certain parts of the day marketing and prospecting. I am not going to be soft on it. I'm not going to let people get by and make excuses. Companies do well when they have the rainmaker mentality. But it has to be done within your culture, and I get it. And so many of you in the class I've had one-on-one calls with, and I want to remind all of you again that I'm available for one-on-one calls. All you gotta do is reach out, say, Gary, I want to ask you a couple questions. Can we customize something? I'm working on calling. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And as part of Mastermind, I can give you the basics. If you want more, like really writing full scripts, we have other services our company does. But I'm here to help you do the basic things and get started and train the trainer and teach you how to do this. So if you're getting ready to go do it, you know, before you make your calls, warm up, get your voice warmed up, do a little singing if you want. I always tell people that this next little thing that I just poured out is so critical. And I even have people that will take a picture, take their phone out, and if you guys want to, you can, and just take a picture of this little paragraph right here. And if all you got from this call today was this concept, I would be happy. I'd be extremely happy. I'm thinking, Charmaine, this is huge for Bottles and Bottega, okay? That if we can create this culture within the whole group, that before you start to do your marketing, you don't just wing it, you don't just rush in really quickly. There's a whole thought process behind it. But you want to have the right environment when you're making your calls. What I mean by right environment, it's not a lot of distractions. It's not a lot of people coming in and out. It's not a lot of noise. It's not your cell phones going off. It's not distractions of kids or TV in the background or alarms going off or just it's hot or it's cold. Like the environment needs to be a place to actually, I'm making my calls. I'm doing this. I remember I used to work with a company. One of my very first training clients was a company called Intero Real Estate. I was an agent at the time, and I was also training a lot of their agents. And their number one real estate agent in the entire company, I think he did about 300 homes a year. And I went and I shadowed him making his calls. And I remember and I'm standing up now, guys. When he was standing up to make his prospecting calls, now he's the far extreme right, but he sold 300 homes a year. And I want to let you guys know, to get great results, you sometimes do outside the norm. But he had, first of all of his scripts up on the wall in front of him. So even though he was the best salesperson, sold 300 homes, he still liked kind of a refresher course of what the scripts are. So he had them printed big so he could see it big, including he had his objection scripts. So when he got an objection, he didn't have to like, oh, what do I say on that one? It's right there in front of him. What do I have to say? So his whole wall in front of him, no joke, was, you know, I'd say maybe 3 feet by 4 feet was all the scripts. He had 2 earphones. You guys will laugh at this one. He had 2 phones because when he was dialing, when he just finished up his phone call, right near the end of it, he was already dialing the new numbers for the next call he was going to make. And I said, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Like, that's really being extreme. And he goes, no, Gary, I figured out that by doing this, when I prospect every week, the time I saved between calls and losing momentum and having to go look it up and look up the number, I saved 3 days worth of calling time in the course of a year. To him, that monetized out to like $25,000, $30,000, okay? And he goes, why would I not want to be efficient? He was standing up. He had earphones on so he could talk with his hands. For him, it was the right environment. What is the right environment for you? Is it sitting at your desk where you're distracted? I always say it's better to stand up and use your hands and have an earphone because people can feel you more. The next is the right plan. So what's your plan when you're getting ready to make calls? You have a plan. Do you know how many dials you want to make? How many hours you want to do? How many contacts you want to make? How many people you want to talk to? How many appointments you want to set? What's your plan when you get started? I want you guys to write this down. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you have the list. So in our company, and remember, in our company, about 120, 130 consultants and coaches all through the world. And our preliminary thing, most thing we call on as companies to do one-on-one business coaching. We do keynote speaking and we do consulting. And most of our sales folks sell coaching, and they're calling every day to managers of companies to offer a complimentary 1-hour training in exchange for some time to talk, teach something, and build trust and credibility so that people want to sign up for coaching. Now, we call it a market record. It's a good note for you guys to write down. A market record is a name of a prospect that you know their name, what position they hold in the company. Hopefully they're the decision maker, and maybe how many people they have in their company potentially. But it might just be they're the decision maker for themselves if you're just selling a product to that one person. But you have a list, and when our people get on the phone to make calls, they have a list of 30, 50, 100 people, so they've already got a list to call on. Because I want you to write this down. The key to prospecting is to have the attitude of plenty versus the attitude of scarcity. The attitude of plenty versus the attitude of scarcity. Some people aren't prospecting because they feel like they don't have enough people to call on. So the first goal is, do we have the right list? Do we have the right plan? Do we have the right environment? Next, are we using the right words? And this is where I'm doing a lot of calls in between these once a month trainings. And this is where you can call me in between and say, hey, Garrett, you know what? We do not have scripting in our company, or we have very little. Can you give me just a few things I could say when I'm making calls that will help me better get through to the decision makers, get by the gatekeepers, how to set an appointment? If I get this objection, what can I say? But if you're not using the right words, you're letting money go right over your head because you may not be building enough enthusiasm, excitement, energy to get them to your yes. Next is the right energy. People say, well, Gary, how do you know you got the right energy? Well, record yourself. Listen to yourself. Ask one of your peers to listen to you selling, and would they buy from you? The right attitude, the right persistence. I'm not quitting until I get done. There's nothing better. So today's a prospecting day for me because it's been a short week. Monday and Tuesday with the holidays, and tomorrow we have our company's retreat in Calistoga up in wine country, and so it'll be a very short working day tomorrow. So today I really, like I said, I plan every night that today is a prospecting day from early in the morning all the way through the night. So when I get off the call, it's going to already be 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm still one appointment away from my goal. I'm 6 contacts away from my goal. And you guys are going, gosh, Garrett, it's already 4:23. Who can you reach? Well, you're right. I'm limited on who I can reach. I'm in Pacific Standard Time, and so I have a little bit of time still today to reach Bay Area people, California people in the same time zone. But I also have a prospect list, believe it or not, of Hawaii. Now, why would I do that? Because I'm disciplined to not make excuses, and Hawaii is 3 hours earlier, and I know I could still call into Hawaii. Now, I'm sharing that your business may be different. I get it. But are you planning ahead? That goes into the planning to make sure that you don't let excuses get in the way of, oh, I could have done that. I could have done that. No, I am committed to living the 12-6-3. Remember, 12 contacts on a day, you pretty much got all day to prospect. 6 contacts on half days where you got a couple appointments already set up, and no matter what, every day, 3 contacts. So I just spent 10 minutes talking about this, but gosh, if we could just embed all of you in this class, that you have the right environment, the right plan, the right list, the right words, the right energy, the right attitude, the right persistence, the right perseverance, and the right follow-up, watch what happens to your marketing and your prospecting. It's kind of like your little checklist. Plan your calls. Objective for the day, average size of the sale, closing percentage, number of appointments, call volume, dials. Just make a little note there. Know my ratios. Know my ratios. What that means is that you know how many dials does it take to make a contact, contacts with the decision maker. How many contacts do I need to make to get an appointment or make a sale? How many appointments do I need to set to get a presentation? How many presentations do I have to do to make a sale? How many sales do I have to make to hit my goal, or what's my average sale? Here's another ratio. How many times must I ask for a referral to get a referral? What are my referral ratios? So let's say you're in a business where you have an opportunity every day to see 30 people, where they come into your store, whatever type of business it is. and you're committed to asking every single person for a referral, and you keep score. I asked 30 people for a referral today, and you keep score. I got 3 referrals. So now you know it takes 30 asks to get 3 referrals. And then what we can do is work with you again if you call me, and we can work on this between calls. We could talk about how we can get the right words to ask the right way to make your ratios go higher. All right. Analyze your numbers, like I said, by knowing your ratios. Have all scripts easily accessible. So do you have scripts? If not, what needs to be written? Set a goal to have 50 messages left every day, no matter what, if all you're doing is making calls. Now, I know businesses are different, and it may not be realistic to leave 50 messages. Some businesses, they hammer the phone so hard, it's 100 messages. Some business, it makes more sense to walk out and catch the neighborhood. So today, like I said, Jim Guys is at my house, and he's training me, the trainer, and I'm coaching him about how he could be more efficient trainer because his next appointment isn't until 7 p.m. And so what I was doing with Erwin, good guy, very coachable. Remember, you always want to be a student in the game. Is what are you going to do between now and then? He's done with the workout at 3. His next appointment's not till 7. I got 4 hours. So of course, part of his driving, I said, first you clover lead. You go right around where you were, and in person, go introduce yourself to people. The worst thing they could say is no. But it's a very powerful technique to say, I was just over there. You know, the other day I was over at my girlfriend's, and we were just eating dinner, and the Comcast guy showed up, knocked on the door. And it was such a good technique, and it's like, we teach it. I go, oh my God, they're using the same technique. It's so good. And he comes up and he goes, hey, I just want to introduce myself. You might have noticed our Comcast fan in the neighborhood. We're doing some work over at the Smiths across the street and the Johnsons, and we just want to let you know that, you know, we're in the neighborhood and around if you need anything. By the way, I noticed that you used to have Comcast. You don't have Comcast anymore. But gosh, I'd love to share with you a few things. And he built some rapport. We could have either blown him off, but actually my girlfriend said, hey, you know what? I've been kind of looking to see if I could save some money off. I think she has DirecTV or Dish. And the guy built a little rapport by just going and knocking on the door and getting credibility because he was over there and over there. So cloverleafing is a technique of wherever you are, go knock on doors and call right around where you just did business. So that's a way you can leave 50 messages. You could leave several messages that way. You could go to a networking event. You could go drop off a bunch of handwritten messages as long as you know it's getting to the person that day, like an admin helps you. But somehow you're dropping off messages. I run into a lot of salespeople that they don't want to leave messages. They call, and if they don't get the person they reach, they hang up. And I go, that's a waste of time. You want to drop lots of fishing lines, is what I say. If you go, everybody's ever been deep sea fishing, you drop 12 lines in the water because you have 12 chances then of catching a fish. So in sales, the more messages you leave, the more chances you have the next day or next 2 days of someone calling you back. Now, role playing is another big part of prospecting. And the reason that you role play is because quite often you don't know how you sound. You need honest feedback. So what I do if I'm like a manager of a company is I'm going to take initiative and I'm going to assign people role play partners. If you have a company, 20, 30 locations, set an email up and say, hey, we want to, I know some of you do it informally, but what we'd like to do is pair you up for the next month, and you're going to be power partners with each other. And you're going to work together and hold each other accountable. And we recommend you practice with each other and be honest with each other and help each other. Because often people won't do it unless you kind of hold them accountable to doing it. Remember to free your mind and stop worrying about things, because most things you worry about cannot control anyways. Take deep breaths. There's a recent study that shows emotions, worry, and stress can be felt over the phone from the prospect 20 to 30 more times more than if you're in person. So I challenge all of you guys right now to do me a favor and just take a very deep breath in with your nose. Just take a deep, deep, deep breath in with your nose. If you're listening to the recording of this later, do the same thing. And then slowly let it out. Another deep breath in with your nose. And then slowly let it out. Now, the reason that we do this, and you probably you feel a little bit better. Like I always feel better when I actually take a few minutes and just take a couple deep breaths. There's a lot of studies on this that people sometimes will go 4, 5, 6 weeks and never take a deep breath. They'll just breathe. Start taking deep breaths, watching your stress levels go down, watching your worries go down. If you forget, I have people that put little yellow Post-its all over their desk and all over, breathe, breathe. Something so simple, but so huge. Look yourself in the mirror and make sure you look well. You know, there's a lot of times people, what they do is they get a little mirror and they put it right next to their prospecting area. It's easier for women sometimes without little makeup mirrors, but be willing to look at yourself. You could use your camera and do reverse and look at yourself. And if you can't look yourself in the eye, like why would somebody else? Like smile. People buy from people that smile. Stand up, like I said. Another one is if you're trying to reach people that are hard to get, like executives and decision makers, often they get there before anybody else does if it's their own business. And so you can get connected right through to them. Often they'll stay late, and often lunchtime, they'll have a substitute person answering the phone if it's a company. Sometimes if it's individuals, it really doesn't matter what time you reach them. But if it's a company, and you could try to reach them at these hard to get times, substitute secretary isn't so much of a gatekeeper. Have record keeping sheets and out to keep track of all your dials, and then treat the secretaries and receptionists with class. Love on them, appreciate them. Often what I'll do is if someone's really nice to me when I'm trying to reach the decision maker, like if I truly believe it, because there's some decision makers, there's some gatekeepers that aren't very nice. But if they're so nice, I will do anything for them. Like they run the company in many cases, the person that takes the calls. And if they're cool and they're open-minded to getting a message to the decision maker, and they're nice, and you can truly say this with integrity, not you're trying to kiss their butt at all, like you're being honest. So, you know, when I finally do reach, you know, Joe, whoever the decision maker is, I'm going to mention that, like, they're lucky to have you. You're good. I mean, I'd hire you. Now, be careful. You have to mean it. But think about it. If you take the time to really let them know that you're good, don't you think the message will get to the decision maker a little bit better because they go, oh, I like this person. They're pretty cool. So take the time to do that. Start the call with good energy and getting yes from the prospect. So here's a couple examples of scripting. Start the call strong with good energy and getting yes from the prospect. Hey, are you Joe Smith? If you know their name, the manager. You're the manager at Wells Fargo, right? Yeah, great. Well, I'm Gary. You don't have to say you're Gary because you're me, but you say your name, Southwestern Consulting, and what come here. We never met before, so if you're trying to put a name and a face together, it probably won't work. You should underline that. That is a really good softener, as we call it, a transition statement. Hey, we've never met before, so Ryan, if you're trying to put a name and a face together, it probably won't work. You know, Christine, if you're trying to put a name and a face together, it probably won't work. Charmaine, we've never met before, but trying to put a name and a face together, it probably won't work. So then they go, oh yeah, who are you anyway? Their head, they're thinking, who is this person? And it's kind of like a little transition. It's kind of a little softener. And then when they say, can you send me something? Send me something typically means they're trying to politely blow you off. So I'd be happy to send you something. If I send you something, would you read it? And then pause for a second. You're not just saying that to blow me off, are you? Laugh. What I mean is, you're sincerely interested, aren't you? Good, because when I follow up with you, I want to feel confident that you're going to, set up a workshop or an appointment with me, and you're going to want to know more. So I just want to make sure that what I do send you is compelling. Is there anything particularly that you're looking for when I send you something? And get into a conversation with them to make sure they really want the information. You're bridging the gap between just send me something and what can I send you? What do you sincerely want to see? I'm going to teach you a concept now called three-dimensional names. And three-dimensional names is very, very, very important to use when you're talking about somebody. So three-dimensional name can either be a true person, like You'd say, yeah, you should meet John Smith. He's a cool guy. Or you should meet John Smith. He's a cool guy. He's the guy you see every Saturday on that morning show on the television. You know, the guy that brings his 3 kids on there. Oh my gosh, I've seen him actually at the local fairs before. He's so cool. That guy like has so much energy. And now we call it 3-dimensional names because we're bringing the name of the person to life. Oh yeah, I remember seeing John on the TV in the morning with the kids. He's got a ton of energy. So when you use a third-party name, it could be either, you remind me of this gal, and it may not even be anybody they know, but man, she's so cool, and you give a story of that person so they could actually picture, if they were in the room with that person, what that person is. So the professional team really brings your job to life and establishes credibility with your new prospects. And it makes you more real because you're telling a story. And if you ever like spend time learning from great speakers, and I'm like a student of the game when it comes to speaking, because it's often what I do is I speak at companies, and being able to share stories and let the audience feel as if they're in the room with you, and they actually feel they're in the story with you, is an art. And the way that when you're done at the end of your presentation, they really go, he was a good speaker, she was a good speaker, is you've really brought everybody in the audience into the experience. And the way to do that is 3-dimensional names. The other concept I want you to learn is called prospecting pinball. Now, this has a lot of different meanings, and the main gist of it is called persistence. So how persistent are you to work with somebody? So I tell people often about one of my favorite clients to work with right now, and it's the NFL football team, the San Francisco 49ers. Now, it's one of my favorite teams to work with for a variety of reasons. Number one is I live in the Bay Area and I have season tickets to the 49ers. And to get in to an NFL football team to work with them, everybody's calling on them. So you're like one of a million. But I've been very blessed over my life to done a good job and have several testimonials and people that say that what we do is good. And I was able to be introduced to the president of the company through somebody else that I know, and got to have a meeting at the stadium with the president of the 49ers. And, you know, I built a relationship with him, and he said, I want you to get back to me. And because he's constantly traveling, okay, it took me quite a few calls and follow-up to finally get a hold of him. But when I did, he said, I really appreciate your persistence, because a lot of people would have given up. And he goes, we don't teach that with the players on the field. Why would I want someone working with my sales team that's just going to make a couple calls and give up? And now been very blessed. We've really helped their sales team that sells suites and season tickets, and really been a driving force to help them grow. But it was just getting in the door in the first place because of the commitment to reach the decision maker no matter what it took. So you tactfully create a sense of urgency in the mind of the gatekeeper over the phone to put you through to the prospect. So some of the questions you can ask, and I want you to kind of say to yourself, what can work for me rather than what can't work for me. Some companies still have the ability to page people. Some companies still have the ability to put you on hold and then actually ring the person and look them up. We don't have pagers anymore though, but texting is another way that I consider. Paige, can you text them real quick and let them know I'm on the line? Can you transfer me to someone that sits next to them? Okay, I'm having a hard, every time I call in, I always get their voicemail, but I really need to reach them. Is there somebody that sits next to them that might be able to get a message to them? How about this one? Do they have a business cell phone? Circle that on your notes. Do they have a business cell phone? These days, guys, many people only have a cell phone. They don't even have a landline anymore. Many people, that's all they have. And so it's more commonplace today to actually ask for someone's business cell phone. Don't just ask for their cell. There's some sort of people still trying to hold you out from having their cell, but ask for their business cell. Yeah, hang on just a second, please. and like, I'd say 60, 70% of the time, if I ask for an executive's business cell, they'll give me a cell phone number. Or they'll be very cordial about, hey, I can't give out their cell phone number, but I can have them call you. And I'll say, well, I'll give you my cell phone. Would you mind reaching out to them and having them call me? And I very much am very comfortable with asking. So this is where you tell you what, why don't you call them on their cell phone now? Once you have them on, you connect us, or you can have them call me right back. It's not the number I need. I just need to reach them. Is there someone of equal? There's another line you should underline. Is there someone of equal business stature that I can speak with? Someone that can also make the decision. Another one that's often big is, do they have an executive assistant or personal secretary? And then you can say, gosh, none of these have worked. Are you sure there's not a way we could text them or whatnot? Now, this is called prospecting pinball, or we actually joke around about it in our company. We call it ride the bull. So anybody's ever been to a country bar and they have those electronic bulls? And like, how long can you stay on that electronic bull? And I'll tell you what, the people that are persistent, now again, not pushy, loving, we're an information giver, we have a good product. It sometimes takes longer and more persistent to reach the right person. But when you do, quite often there's such beauty at the end of it. So prospecting pinball is absolutely huge. Then go right back to the secretary, equal business stature. Okay, now, our next concept I want to teach you guys is what we call the 4 death questions and what we call the mystery message. The mystery message. And here's what this is. So when a gatekeeper or somebody tells you that, what's this regarding? Are they expecting your call? What company are you with? Who might I say is calling? If you answer any of these questions directly, most of the time you're going to get screened and go right to what we call voice jail. Okay, so here's the secret sauce. You won't believe how effective this is until you actually use it. But by simply sending any random name in response to the death questions, you'll get connected. Get this, 90% of the time. Now, you can use anybody's name, but what you might want to use is my name, because then you could have integrity, or you could just use a boss in your company's name if you want. But sometimes the boss will be recognizable to the point that they might screen you. I already know that company. I don't want to take a call from him. He's trying to sell me something. But most people may not know my name. So you could just say, when they say, what's this regarding? Or may say who's calling, okay? Or any of those questions, are they expecting your call? Or what company are you with? Any of those questions, you can just say, well, you can let them know it's regarding Gary Michaels or your boss, okay? Or some other name. If they ask you, clarify, you can respond, I'm sure if you mention Gary Michaels, that'll be fine. That's all you say. It's critical to use the name of your supervisor who specifically asked you to call, or you could say your coach. See, so if they ask you later, you could say, yeah, my coach, hey, thanks for calling me back. My coach, Gary, is an international trainer, and I'm working with him to grow my business and grow better. And I'm on a mission right now to reach every whatever company you're calling on. And he wanted me to reach out to you. But I'll tell you the truth, I've been doing this technique for probably 10 years. And maybe only once or twice in 10 years have they said it was regarding you. Like, they never ask you. The whole goal is you're just getting connected through. So that is what's called the secret sauce. So the mystery message is to say that. So it needs to be sincere. And when you're leaving messages, okay, if you're actually leaving a message for somebody, and you need to be compelling in the first 30 seconds. You should never apologize for possibly interrupting them. You must believe you'll be successful and there's no way to fail. Your confidence is what the potential client is really looking for. Confidence, not cockiness. Confidence is attractive, fear is unattractive. I often talk, as you guys know, about the sexy buffalo. And the whole concept with the sexy buffalo is confidence is attractive, fear is unattractive. Buffalo mentality is the only herd animal in the world where when there's a storm, the buffalo go right into the storm. So when I'm saying make your 12 contacts a day, 6 contacts a day, 3 contacts a day, You got to believe you're going to make your contacts and the people are going to buy from you. They're going to say yes. The worst thing that happens is they say no. They usually don't say hell no. But your confidence is going to be what's attractive. If you kind of got baby toe in the water, and you kind of sort of go in there, and you're kind of maybe sort of, it's not like people are going to go, oh. So I said, confidence is sexy, fear is unattractive. I always tell the story about my friend Gary. And Gary was dating this gal for a long time. And I'm not talking me, Gary, I'm talking my friend Gary. And Gary was dating this gal for the longest time, and they broke up, and he was single for about a year, and he told me, Gary, I'm gonna start dating again, but I'm a little nervous. I'm a little uncomfortable. And I said, well, Gary, you better get over that quickly, because the girls aren't gonna go, ooh, look at that fearful guy. He's hot. I want to be with the fearful guy. Oh, yeah. It's probably not going to happen. People want to be with confident people. Now, I want you to write on your paper, please, that the only difference between fear and confidence, and think about all the people you work with in your company and who needs to get better and why they need to get better. The only difference between fear and confidence is the level of preparation, the level of training. You can train, make it mandatory. We're on it. They may complain, they may piss, moan, groan, whatever. I'm talking to all of you in this that listen to this, but you guys are taking the action and you're investing in yourself. And you might not like taking this hour to do this, but I'll tell you what. You train gives you confidence. Confidence gives you like an aura around you that people want to do business with you. And you sound better, and you say the right words, and you raise your voice and lower your voice, and you do the right numbers and your activities right, all the stuff we're learning in the class. But if you don't train, you're not prepared. If you don't have a coach, you're not prepared. When you're not prepared, your fear starts to go up, and people can tell you're not that good and you're winging it, and people don't do as well when they're winging it. So understand that cold calling is a numbers game, but know your numbers. It's negative to just know it's a numbers game. The more numbers I make, the more. No, I need to know my ratios. And it's very simple. Again, you guys can call me. Again, I'll give you my number at 408-888-4848. 408-888-4848. You guys can call me, email me, and I'll be happy to do a little session with you on going through we call them CSFs, critical success factors. Some of you guys may know it as KPI, key performance indicators. And going through what are the important things you do in your business to get results, and then we will reverse engineer it, and we'll actually create a plan of you put your self-esteem every day into not your results but into your activity. We have a franchise brand right now called Care Patrol. It has 130 people in their brand. 65 people are in coaching. They are in our coaching program, and about half the brand's doing it. And 65 people are voluntarily, even though the franchisor is not their boss, putting their stats in every single day of their activity. Now, wow, isn't it amazing how they're doing better than the ones that aren't doing that? Because they're able to look at their stats, and they're able to measure their stats, and their coach is able to say, you know what, you're not making enough calls. Or you know what, you're making enough calls, but you're not saying the right words because you're making all these calls, but you're not making contacts. Or you're making all these contacts, but you're not converting them to appointments to go out and do what you need to do. So let's work on your scripting there. By being okay to being measured by somebody other than yourself, you're going to have a doctor that can do their work. And it's going to be your self-analyst of yourself too. So practice your verbiage, practice your scripts. Again, when I say scripts, you look at me with a deer in the headlights. You need to get with me. You need to get with the owner of your company. We can help you create scripts. We do that all the time. It's very common for us to create sales manuals, script manuals for companies and put it together. So then all you got to do is read it. Read it right off the thing with adding a little to your own personality. Have fun, shake it up, stay loose. It's okay to mess up every now and then. So this one, I got to be very careful when I teach this because I had somebody get upset at me last year when I taught it. I'm going to say it the right way. Sometimes you need to loosen up a little bit. And sometimes you're going to make a call and someone's going to be mean to you. And someone's not going to be nice to you. And they're going to be having a bad day. And they're going to say, we're not interested. And they haven't even heard what you say yet. Or they're going to give you that attitude of, we're not interested. Blah, blah. And you know what? You've had a rough day yourself. And they're being kind of jerkish. You could say, you're not interested. And it might even piss them off even more, okay? But one time, just to laugh a little bit, I can tell you the last time I did it was a couple weeks ago, and there was like a long silence, and she said, "You're good." I was not being very nice to you, and you caught me. You got me. And she actually said, "You're good." Just tell me a little bit about it. And she actually, because I had enough guts to be a little bit different and fun, she looked at it like, "Hey, I want to talk to this guy." Because again, confidence is sexy, fear is unattractive. They ask you what your product runs and what the cost is. Acknowledge their questions, say you'll get back to them, but kind of give them a high and low range. You never want to give price over the phone. You want to create value yet first and say, let's talk a little more detail what you might be looking for. Use testimonials, references, because people like to hear what other people say about you. You can ask what we call trial closes, which I've been doing during the class. And a trial close is a temperature-taking question to see how you're doing so far. Weave into the presentation statements about what you offer and how it give their company or them the edge. This is a big one to circle. Like what it is that you do that will give them a competitive advantage, the edge. If you do that, people always want to have one up on their friends and their competition. They like hearing third-party stories. And then in order to get that confidence, you must practice to rehearse your scripts, word tracks, etc. to sound smooth. And remember what I said, 15 minutes a day average practicing these techniques. Just reading it and practicing it and role-playing it and looking at it. And as each month we go on in the Mastermind course, as you guys know, the course is a 6-month course, and then it's month to month after that. But we have people, we had a guy the other day said, can I buy a lifetime membership? You know, he plans on staying in every month because he just wants to keep reinforcing it. Because you need to practice, drill, rehearse, practice, drill, rehearse, practice, drill, rehearse. As soon as you stop, you're going backwards. But if you hear it over and over again, it will become part of you. So the last thing I'm going to cover with you guys before we wrap up today, and now you got them on the call, what do you say? So you don't get them on and then say, so how are you doing? How are you doing? It's like so amateur. It's so amateur. Get right down to it. Hey, thanks for picking up. The reason I gave you a call is I'm with blah, 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 and we've never met before. We're trying to put a name and a face together. It probably won't work. I gave you the script a little bit earlier there. Go right into your deal. Make a little note to yourself. It takes 3 to 10 seconds to make a first impression. 3 to 10 seconds. And you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So if you're getting on screaming salesperson in the first few seconds, you never get to tell your product or service. So I have some fun. He's unavailable right now. Oh, he's married? Just kidding. Hey, you know what a good time that I'd be able to reach them? Or here's another one. So their company is like a long company name, or God, how do you pronounce that? Okay, wow, that's a mouthful. Do you say that every time? Or she's in a meeting or on the line. It's usually pretty quick or long-winded. And just by being a little bit of fun, people like that. When you've been on a hold with music playing, this is a good one. I used this one the other day. I was trying to reach somebody from American Airlines in their marketing department, and I was on hold, and I was on hold, and I was on hold, and I was on hold. And they came on, I go, man, that's good music. Keep it back to hold. And she laughed. She goes, oh my God, it's usually not that long. But we got to build a little rapport because she liked me. And that's what you want. Make a note on your paper. People do business with people they like. People do business with people they like. I heard you're the man or woman in charge over there. Is that just today, or does it depend on who's asking? Or when they blow you off quickly. I'm sorry, I guess you haven't heard about me yet. This one is amazing. Write this down. They blow you off. Your response is, oh my God, I'm sorry. I guess you haven't heard about me yet. Gosh, Joe. Golly, I guess you haven't heard about us yet. We're the guys, and you go right back into it. And it's weird how your confidence to go right back into it, it kind of like subtly stops half of those people blowing you off. So here's a few other things. After you have several messages, they need to call you back. You could say, hey, Joe, I'm the one that's been leaving all those really vague messages. Yeah, it's kind of like sales technique to get you to call me back. Guess it didn't work, huh? Or, hey, I was beginning to think you were kidnapped. Are you okay? Or, hey, Do you have like 97 seconds for me? I know I've been calling, you haven't called me back. Maybe you're concerned it will take too long. I just see 97 seconds. Or, hey, we haven't met so far, so I'm trying to put a name and a face together. So I think you're seeing there's a ton of ideas here. And then I think because we're wrapping up here, I'm not going to be able to go through all of these, but this creative stuff, all of these creative messages are amazing things for you to do, because when you're subtly willing to be creative in your prospecting, it sends a message to people that you'll be creative and go the extra mile once you have them as a client. So again, if you're willing to go the extra mile to be creative in your prospecting techniques and what you say, and you're funny and you're humorous and you're nice and you're persistent and you're likable, they'll feel like you'll go the extra mile once you reach them. So I know that there's several that don't show their face, and there's a few I see that you're showing your face today. If you want to come off mute, I'll give you a couple seconds for questions. If you don't have questions, remember you can always email me later at gmichaels@southwesternconsulting.com. Again, my phone number is 408-888-4848. And I'll really quickly give you guys about 30 seconds to come off mute if you have a question, comment, or whatever. Otherwise, we will call it a session for today. Remember, in a couple weeks, we'll have the wrap-up call, and you'll get a message from Janet as to when the wrap-up call is. And then again, next month, we have another course. Remember to print out the handouts, put them in a binder, and start to review these over and over and over again, and they will become part of you. So does anybody have any questions, comments, ideas, something you liked? I'm willing to take those now.
Gary, can you hear me okay?
I can.
I sent a chat about the creative messages. Do you think we'll have access to those?
Absolutely. I can have Janet send out a bunch of those messages to you guys in addition to what we already sent you. And you all can give me a call too in between, and I can help you with some. The cool part about it, this is often a breakout session. Charmaine, we could even do potentially voluntary lunch or whatever. We could do some of this stuff, creative message stuff, but that's what gets people to call you back. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So yeah, we'll send out something. Anybody else have any questions? All right, then, guys, until next time, remember to turn it up a notch. If you're not a Facebook friend of mine yet, do Facebook me. It's MICHELS. I'm constantly doing posts on Facebook, and every Tuesday I've turned it up a notch Tuesday, and we're giving a lot of content there also. So you guys rock. I'll talk to you soon, and have a good rest of your day.